All right, so how's it going, everyone? So I just wanted to make this quick video about the two states that our body are in at any given time. You're going to be in one of these states. Those two states are anabolic or catabolic. Now, what do those actually mean? I get a lot of questions about how fast am I going to lose weight? How do I properly lose weight? How do I get my nutrition plan on point? And understanding these things first, at what state our body is and what happens during them, is going to help you out and understand why it's important to eat 5 meals a day, why it's important to eat every 2 to 3 hours, things like that. Okay, so let's get into the one of two states. So at any given time, okay, throughout the day, and this is a timeline of the day, we're either going to be anabolic, which is where our body is building muscle and using fat as energy, so targeting the fat stores, or we're going to be catabolic, where we're actually using our muscle to get broken down by our body for energy and storing fat for later on. It's like the survival state, okay? The easiest way to remember is what everyone wants to be in that building muscle, burning fat, or A for awesome. A, anabolic, C for catastrophe, catabolic. That's the exact opposite of what you want to do. Now, both states are perfectly natural, and there are some points where you can't control this, i.e. when you're sleeping and things like that. And what I mean by that is there's one macronutrient, one thing that we intake on a day-to-day basis that makes us anabolic, and it's the only thing that can do it, and that is protein. Okay, protein, protein, protein. I can't stress it enough that protein is the only food source or only nutrient that gets us from the catastrophe state to the awesome state. All right, so when looking at how to lose weight, nutrition is 80% of any fitness goal, whether it's to gain lean mass, whether it's to burn the fat, whether it's to get the beach body, whether it's just to tone up, whether it's just to feel better about yourself, it all starts here. Understanding these two states, how they work and how to do it with the nutrition. That's 80%. The easy part, believe it or not, is the actual working out. Because think about it, how many times have you been able to, I go to the gym all the time, but it's just not working, it's just not working. Well, it's because you can't get yourself to forget about the Big Mac. You can't get yourself to forget about the Twinkie, the Snickers, the Skittles, the popcorn, the chocolate, right? Whatever it is, you can't get yourself to do that. So hopefully by understanding this and how it works, is showing how you're cheating yourself and you're actually maybe not getting enough protein in your diet to get us into the awesome anabolic state, okay? So I'm gonna go through a generic meal plan with you and how this actually truly works and how it works, understanding and remembering that protein is the only thing that gets us anabolic, building muscle, burning fat, rather than catabolic, losing muscle, gaining fat. Okay, so usually what I see, and I have the timeline from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., your usual day, is that people eat about 7 a.m. All right, so we'll put a mark there. Let's say you eat at 7 a.m. You have some bread, some cereal, something that is supposed to be healthy, like the Cheerios, all those things. Now that might naturally have a little bit of protein, but not enough to get us anabolic. And since we're already starting in a catabolic state from sleeping, because unless you're eating protein every 2 to 3 hours in the middle of the night, you're gonna be catabolic, because protein's the only thing that gets us there, right? So we're already starting off in this catabolic state. So here we are, we get through our first meal, and then we normally eat lunch between 11 and noon. Let's say 12 p.m., right? So now 12 p.m. you might have a sandwich, we have some meat in there, you might have, a protein bar, whatever the case is. Maybe you're really, really busy, but at noon is the first time we get any sort of protein intake, right? So now this entire time we've been catabolic, jumps up, and now you stay in that state for 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so let's go on average, meet in the middle of 2.5 for the average person. Okay, that's why eating 2 to 3 hours is important, and it'll paint the bigger picture here in a minute. Okay, so as we're coming down 2.5 hours later, 2:30 p.m., we are now catabolic again. So now we just shot back down into this state until dinner time, where we might have some getty, you got some meat in there, some chicken, some salmon, whatever the case is, all the way up until dinner, and now we're here for another 2 to 3 hours, okay? So your average individual that I've run into, okay, let's say you're up at 6 a.m. and go to bed at 9 p.m., okay? That's a total of 12, 13, 14, 15 hours. All right. So let's say out of your 15-hour day, only 2 times did we get anabolic with an average of 2.5 hours. So that means what? 5 hours out of our day. Okay. 5 hours out of 15 hours. That's 33%, 1/3, right? So we have only spent 1/3 of our day in an anabolic state where our body's just naturally building muscle and losing fat, okay? Which means 2/3 we're actually losing muscle and gaining fat, all right? All due to the protein consumption. Now let's look at the big picture as to why 4 to 6 meals, 5 to 6 meals a day is important, and just tweaking with that little bit of added protein in order to get us in that awesome state rather than the catastrophe state, okay? So now let's say we throw some eggs in there, some egg whites, some protein, maybe some chicken in a scramble, whatever the case is, right away at 7 o'clock. 2.5 hours later, we hit 9:30. All right, so we were catabolic, jump up right away during our breakfast. Most important meal of the day. We want to get in that good state right away in the beginning of our day. Then right about 9:30, this is where we can have a snack, whether it be a protein bar or a protein shake if you're a go. But whole food meals are the best way to go, which means, you know, you're actually physically eating a meal that you prepared. All right, but this could be something like a salad. You know, you throw some tuna, some salmon, and things like that into your diet, into that snack to get that protein consumption so that we can jump back up at 9:30. And if you look, 2.5 hours later, falls right into with your normal lunch. Now all we need to do is throw another snack, maybe it is that protein bar this time, or another salad, or just another way, or just a plain chicken breast, whatever the case is, okay? And it gets us anabolic again. It doesn't take that long to eat it. You eat it real quick, wash it down. Now you know you're in that good state again, all the way up to your dinner. Now let's look at how long that we were anabolic throughout the day. You can already tell that there's a major difference, right? This changing line is that 2.5 hour point where we're no longer anabolic. Remember that. And through the protein, it led to this. Okay, so now if you look at it, that's 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5. So now out of our 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., with this way, we are 12.5 hours anabolic. 12.5 hours. That's insane. If you think about it, that's over 2/3 now, because 2/3 would be 10 hours out of our 15-hour day. So if I were to guess, like right around that, I would say 70 to 72% of your day with this at 5 to 6 meals, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Imagine the 6th one right away before you go to bed. It's a myth that you shouldn't eat before you go to bed. It's what you eat and understanding the states as to why that was the case in the myth in the first place. All right, because a lot of people start eating carbs like it's cool, and you don't want to necessarily do that, but we want that protein because, again, the only nutrition source to keep us anabolic. Okay, but just by adding with your 3-meal plan, 3 meals a day, adding 2 of those snacks, whether it be a chicken breast, maybe a little bit of rice too, or a salad with some tuna, some salmon, whatever the case is, you now just flipped it to over 2/3 of your day rather than 1/3 of your day being that you're building muscle and losing fat. You just flipped it. And this is just our body's natural process, because have you ever heard, hey, you've lost a ton of weight, what did you do? And all you hear is, I just changed my diet. It's because of these 2 states. It's because this is what's happening. So in terms of where do you start and what do you do to lose weight? Your diet. This is 80%, guys. 80%, ladies and gentlemen. That's why this is so important. Now this, with the protein consumption, we all know protein's there for muscle growth. Now if you're working out on top of it, you're tearing the muscles a little bit, breaking them down to rebuild them, you're always going to have the fuel and the food source and the nutrition supplementation that you need in order to build that lean muscle. Another fun fact real quick, the more lean muscle you have, I'm not talking like bulking like bodybuilders, I'm just talking the nice lean gradual building of muscle. The more you have, the more fat our body naturally needs to burn to keep that muscle going. More muscle, more fat burn. So if you can naturally, just through your diet, be gaining that nice, slow, gradual lean muscle and targeting the fat as the energy source and building that muscle, you're naturally gonna burn more energy. The last thing I'm gonna suggest is water consumption. That's what makes up the majority of our body. So why are we depleting ourselves of it? You can drink anywhere from 1 gallon to 2 gallons of water a day. 100 ounces, that's just over 1.5 gallons, will increase your metabolism by 30% on average per individual, just by drinking water. Imagine that now for a second. Imagine you understanding anabolic versus catabolic, looking at your timeline, doing your graph, seeing where you can fit other things in, and now just adding water to your day. It seems like a lot, but if we break it down, if you use a shaker cup, 20-ounce shaker cup, that's only 5 of those a day. You can even get away with 4 of those a day to be 80 ounces, you know? So start out 1 gallon, then work your way up to 1.5 gallons. Then you're increasing on average 30%, it varies per individual, increasing your metabolic rate. So now our body's gonna naturally be burning that fat, building that muscle, and up 30% naturally just with water consumption. So I get this question a lot. I wanted to make this for you guys. Hopefully this paints a bigger, clearer picture. If there's anything that was unclear, please leave a comment. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. Message me on here, whatever the case is. Tag a friend who needs to understand this or whatever. Share this so that other people can know too, because this is the very first thing you need to understand when it comes to any type of fitness goal: losing weight, gaining weight, or maintaining. All right, so that's all I got for now, and as always, stay motivated.